This one is like pretty interesting, right? Is Cypher actually able to carry solo queue, right? Especially when it comes to higher ranks like Immortal and the Valorant rank. Is Cypher actually someone that can carry your entire team, even though everyone sucks? Like, especially when you solo queue, can you like go full solo carry with Cypher, just like you can with Reyna, for example, or with someone like Phoenix, if you know what you do? Or is Cypher someone that heavily relies on his team, you know? Because if you take a look at Cypher, like, he doesn't have aggressive abilities at all, right? Like, he has his camera, right, that you can get some information with. But like, his basic kit is based around supporting the team, right? First of all, you have like his trap wire, right, which you can use on defense to like block off choke points, obviously, to just block off the entrances for the enemies when they like to push. And on offense, you can, like, most of the time you'll just use them to block off flanks, right? Like, let's say you want to push A, you probably put your trap wires around B somewhere just to block off the flanks. And if someone flanks, you'll just get noticed, right? So he's playing around gathering information, right? Like, Cypher is so much about like just getting information for your team. And the same thing goes for his camera, right? Like, his camera also is just a tool to get information. Like, in the grand scheme of things, it's like all about gathering information with his camera. So it can either be used in an aggressive way or like a pretty passive way. Like, that depends heavily on your own playstyle, but it's all about gathering information with your camera. And his smoke is also more of like a passive tool, right? Like, you obviously can use it to block off choke points and just block the enemy vision. Yeah, there are situations in which you can use it like in an aggressive way, especially on attack when you try to get through something to block off the enemy vision. But you know, like, in the grand scheme of things, it's like basically it's like a pretty defensive ability, right? So Cypher doesn't really have anything that he can use in an aggressive way that allows him to carry games, just like a Reyna, for example, or a Phoenix, right? Like, Reyna can go like stupid aggressive with her abilities, right? And also a Phoenix. And agents with like such an aggressive kit, like a Phoenix or like a Reyna, they have like such an easier time carrying solo queue games. Like, if they know what they do and their team sucks, they can still easily carry their entire team, right? Whereas a Cypher or a Sage, for example, right? Those are like pretty support heavy players, right? And if you don't have a team that understands what they're doing and a team that doesn't like that just sucks, it's like they have such a hard time carrying the team compared to Arena or Phoenix, for example. And the biggest problem is that Riot implemented a system in which you get rewarded, you know, based on your personal performance, right? So naturally, someone like Raze, for example, I mean Sage, my bad. Someone like Sage, for example, has like a way harder time climbing the solo queue than someone like an entry fragger has, for example, right? So someone like Reyna probably has like way better stats in the grand scheme of things than like a Sage, right? Because Sage, you can't really entry as a Sage. You can't really go for those heavy picks and heavy kills because you need to stay alive to support your team, right? To rest someone if he dies, or, you know, just use your utility late game. So Sage is like pretty fucked by the way Riot how do you say it? By the way, Riot rewards your performance, right? Because your performance in game counts so much. Like, if you win a game but you didn't play well, you won't get like anything for that game, even though you won. Like, let's say you win a game and you only got like 2 frags and died like 15 times, and you just got fully carried by your team. You won't get anything for that, right? Because it's just the way Riot rewards your performance, right? So playing like a Cypher, a Sage, or Brimstone even, like, it's a bit harder for them to climb solo queue than it is for like aggressive entry fraggers, I think. I personally played Cypher exclusively in the beta. Like, almost like 99% of my games consisted of just playing Cypher, right? And I main Cypher, so I think I can like safely say that Cypher doesn't have like the easiest time climbing in solo queue, right? So let's say, for example, you play with a 4 stack or like with a 3 stack, right? Or even like a full 5 stack. If you have friends that know what you do, Cypher is like almost one of the best agents that you can pick, and Cypher is like a must pick in general. But I'm talking about, is it the greatest pick for you if you solo queue and you want to climb through solo queue and get to the highest ranks? And I personally think that Cypher is like a pretty viable pick, right? Like, even though he has like he has, what do you call it, he has like a pretty defensive kit and he has like a pretty supportive kit around his character. Cypher is like still such a huge carry in his own way. Like, you can do things with Cypher for your team that no one else can do. Like, you can leave an entire site undefended just because you can place your camera there, for example, and if no one pushes, you have like such a huge number advantage on other sites just because of your camera being like a sixth person for your team, basically, right? So Cypher, I think, is like a pretty nice character to pick. He's obviously not the greatest if you just want to focus on basic solo queue and just grind out solo queue. Cypher is like not the top one pick, right? Obviously, there's champs like Reyna or stuff like that that are probably way better if you want to solo queue and climb. But Cypher is definitely a viable pick. When rank came out during closed beta, it took me like, I think, 2 to 3 weeks to reach Immortal, right? And I played Cypher exclusively. I had like one game where I had to pick a Sage because we didn't have a Sage, but other than that, I played Cypher exclusively, right? And I didn't even play all too much. Like, I played a fairly decent amount of games, right? But I didn't go fully tryhard. And I still did make it quite easy, I'd say. And I probably could have made it in like one less week if people, you get a lot of stupid people, right, in solo queue, and just people that don't really know how to play the game, right? So it obviously just took me a long time because, as I said before, like, would I have played Reyna or Phoenix, for example? I think I would have reached Immortal way faster than playing Cypher. But Cypher can still carry games, right? I still carried a fairly huge amount of games, right? And I think Cypher in general is a pretty viable character, right? So if we look at the general picture, like at the big picture, I think Cypher isn't the top tier character that you need to pick when you want to carry yourself in solo queue, right? Like, Cypher is a viable option for sure in solo queue. Cypher is like way better than other agents that you could pick for solo queue. But if we talk about straight solo queue, you should probably opt for someone like Reyna or Phoenix if we want to have like the best agent for solo queue, I think. Obviously, Cypher also like does a whole lot for his team. But the thing with that is, like, the thing with supportive characters in general is, if your team doesn't know what they're doing, and if your team just sucks in general, you're kind of fucked, right? Playing a support player, because your main goal is to support your team. And if the players that you support just don't know what they're doing, like, you're just doomed to have a bad game, right? So I would generally say that you can definitely play Cypher in solo queue, and you can definitely play Cypher to grind for the highest ranks in solo queue, obviously, right? You can pick any champ to climb to the highest rank in solo queue, but here's the thing. If you play Cypher, expect to have like a tougher time grinding to the top ranks than you would have if you play Reyna, for example, or an Omen even. Like, an Omen can also carry his team and race. Cypher can't in solo queue. I'm talking about straight solo queue, right? So Cypher is definitely viable, right? And Cypher is like a top tier character. Like, he's an S tier character, but in solo queue it can get hard from time to time if your team doesn't know how to play with a Cypher, right? So if you like Cypher and if you want to stick to him, just expect to have a little bit of a harder time compared to like a Reyna or Phoenix or an Omen, for example. But like, in the grand scheme of things, I think Cypher is like a very nice character to climb solo queue still. I got to Immortal and I wouldn't say that was too difficult to reach it. And I think if I've played like an Omen or like a Phoenix or something like that, I would have got there faster. But I still got to Immortal playing Cypher, right? And I almost exclusively solo queued, except like my placement matches. But the rest I most of the time just solo queued. And I think Cypher can carry solo queue games pretty fine, right? So I think if you guys like Cypher, you can definitely use him to carry yourself in solo queue. He's a nice character. You will just have like a tougher time compared to like entry figures, I think. But yeah, that's like my take on how I think Cypher works in solo queue. And obviously, always, guys, if you have anything to add to this discussion, always let me know in the comments down below. And if you want to check out my stream, I'm also streaming on Twitch as of like 2 days, and we're slowly starting to grow a little community. And if you want to join us on the grind, we will do a lot more of these streams. So you can check out my Twitch channel in the description down below. And as always, guys, if you like my content, make sure to subscribe to this channel and leave a like. And I see you guys on the next video.